Well, we should be live. You got it going on? Where's everybody? Hey guys. Oh.
So I can have as many as you want. Go ahead. See.
Got about a minute. All righty then. Let us get ourselves started this morning. I do apologize for the fact that I hadn't been here, but I've been doing a few other well, not little things, pretty good sized things, and so that's where I've been. Don't know how it's going to go forward, but it'll work out. So this morning we have to have our sign-in sheets. Make sure that you're signing in on the right one. You guys at North, please do you ladies at North, please do the same thing, and I'll be over there momentarily right after group. Pick that up. Everybody has to have a book. If you're new, do you have a book? If you don't have a book, we need to make sure we have one. You have a book? Where is your book? All right, so you need to go sit with your book. Have to be in the group. Thank you. So this week we've actually been looking at mental health stuff. So that's on page 21. So turn to page 21 real quickly. And over at North, if you don't have a book, talk to your counselor and tell that person that you need a book. And if they say, you tell them Dr. Garner said you needed a book, and they'll get you a book. They're lovely people, so they won't have a problem getting you a book. So make sure you sign in on the right sheet, right? So we're looking a little bit at emotional health this week. And that's a good topic for this week because we're going into the holiday seasons. Now I will tell you this, that we're going to have some holiday stuff going on around here. There will be a counselor here. I'm certain that the schedules will be different. It's not going to be the same thing that we do every day. I'm not absolutely sure what's going to go on, but something. We have, how many people here are going to be here in December? Going to be here after the first week of December. Okay. So we have something going on for a Christmas thing, and I don't know how much you've heard about that yet, and I'm not sure how much of it I can divulge as of yet. But we've got a pretty good thing going on for a Christmas thing. It's going to be like on the 5th of the month. So we can look forward to that. It's going to be a good thing. But we also need to know that emotionally, the holidays are pretty hard for us, right? The holidays can be tough. I mean, what better way to celebrate the birth of the Lord Jesus Christ than getting drunk or getting high? We do a lot of that. So that's what we need to work on a little bit. So our goal for the group is to learn how not to mess up my recovery during the holidays, right? I need to know that there are some things that I can do that's going to be okay, right? It's going to keep me from messing up during the holidays. Now this is Wednesday, so and remember these things are not days, there's 5 of them, but we're not expected to go through those different stages in a 5-day period. That would be fairly impossible. But what that is the stages that we go through. So we've already looked at, or we should have looked at, going through denial and avoidance. Let me tell you, a lot of us want to deny that we have emotions or that we operate in those emotions, but that's not true. We all are emotional beings. Okay? We need to know we all have emotions. We all operate in those emotions. And look, we operate in those emotions on a daily basis, every day. Every day we're going to have some issues with that. So we can't deny that fact. And then we need to secondly, we got to the place of insight and acceptance, just being accepting of the situation where I do have these things. Anger is a part of my life. Anxiety can be a part of my life. There's a lot of stuff, stress and stuff like that are a part of our lives, right? It's normal, it's natural, it's going to be there, but we have to learn how to deal with it. And then today, on the third stage is action. We've accepted that we have a need for improvement in the way that we deal with our emotions. So we need some improvement of our emotional health and are actively seeking help, willing to take suggestions. We're willing to take constructive action towards improvement. Let me ask you a real quick question. How many people think that they might need some improvement? Everybody in here. If you don't have your hand up, let me share with you. You're wrong. Everybody needs some improvement. Now, wherever I am right now, I can be at a better place. Right? I can be. And you can't find anybody that can't be at a better place than where they are right now. So that's one of our focuses is to get me, and I'm looking for progress, not perfection. So I want to move from here to here, And if I really want to be here, okay, that's perfection. I may not ever reach that, but I'm going to move up step by step, and I'm going to get there. So what is all this on the board? And I will tell you, this is so good. This is fantastic. Because it shows us that we have a real artist in here, right? Because I drew this little raw thing, and then somebody came up here and improved it 100%. I don't know who you are. I know that you have hidden your talents up to this point. But somebody put some teeth on him and some glasses on the poor guy. And, so anyway, it just made it so much better, and I appreciate it. I appreciate you sharing your talent with the rest of the guys. So who is this guy?
Jingle Bell.
Mr. Jingle. Mr. Jingle. Mr. Jingle Bell. Yeah.
No, he's got two years ago.
Say it again.
Did you erase one of the teeth?
Just one, two?
Just erase one tooth. The one on your left. Erase that one. Erase the one on the right. Cecil.
Who was Cecil?
Cecil's our good buddy that left races.
That is nasty. That's bad.
Cecil's my buddy, man. I felt bad here.
Well, it doesn't lessen the fact that it's true, but it's still nasty. So, yeah, okay. So, and it looks a little bit like, but anyway, this is Mr. Jingle Bell. So that's the time of the season, This time of the season, starting in about November, going through January, man, it's just relentless. There's holiday after holiday after holiday. What is this one? Veterans Day. Yeah, I would tell you what, Veterans Day was a little bit of a disappointment to me yesterday. I'm a vet. I had 3 or 4 people say, well, happy Veterans Day.
You looked like you were upset yesterday. So
yeah, I was a little upset, yeah. But IHOP had a thing that says, we honor our veterans. We're going to give our veterans a free meal if they'll come. So I put my veteran hat on. I went to IHOP yesterday afternoon, and when I was finished with my little meal down there, they brought me a ticket and said, whenever you're ready. I said, well, what? Oh, no, you have to have your DD-214. You have to have proof that you were in the military. You have to have... So, anyway, I had 4 pancakes, stack of 4 pancakes. That's it. No bacon, no egg, no nothing. And one of them little pots of coffee cost me $13.
Wow. Did you have any syrup on those pancakes?
I had a lot of syrup. But they
So
do
you
have.
that, since
No,
you
they
don't
do
the
have.
salt.
No, they do have sugar-free syrup.
And
Yeah.
all the preservatives and flavorings in there aren't
No,
sugar.
didn't put any flavorings, anything. Just
They're raised with
pancakes
sugar.
and sugar-free syrup.
Mhm.
So good stuff. Good stuff. So anyway, Veterans Day was a wash. I didn't leave here till 5:30 last night. My idea was after all of that disappointment, I said, well, I'll go home early. You know, it's Veterans Day. I'm gonna go home early. So we had some stuff happen, and then we had some other stuff happen, and then we had some stuff happen on top of the stuff that happened. And so about 5:30, I stumbled out of this place. Yeah, okay then. That's the end of Veterans Day. That ain't happening again for another entire year. But next Veterans Day, y'all will be looking for me. I ain't coming next year. I don't care. I ain't coming. So, and then what happens after Veterans Day? But before Veterans Day, there's whose birthday? Your birthday? When is your birthday? The 20th. Okay, so his birthday. You gonna be here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're gonna throw you a huge party.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, dancing girls, the whole 9 yards.
Oh.
Yeah, it's gonna be something, or not, one or the other. I'm not really sure. We're either gonna show you a big old we love on you, throw you a big part, or nothing. So one or the other is absolutely gonna happen. So I'm sure. Yeah, and so my birthday was on the 2nd of November. So it's another big deal. It's a national holiday, but we don't know it. Yeah. My wife went and bought me 2 shirts, and she bought me 2 bags of socks. Socks are pretty good.
So are those the shirts that didn't have a
The
pocket?
shirt, yeah, both of the shirts. Both of the shirts don't have a pocket.
Whoa.
What do you do with a shirt that don't have a pocket? That's for formal wear. And right now, they somewhere in my office at my house, but I don't know where. You know, I threw them down there. I said maybe the mice will take them off. Even the mice don't want them. Yeah. So anyway, my birthday was and I came over here and it was my birthday and I wasn't working the day after my birthday because my birthday was on Sunday. So my church sang happy birthday to me. You know how much money they gave me for my birthday? Nothing, not a thing, not 30 cents, nothing, not anything. I came over here. These ladies, they had Miss Caitlin back here had a big old. She had a birthday, and they went in and they decorated her desk, and they did all kinds of stuff. And you know what they did in my office? Nothing. Y'all get the sense I might be feeling a little less than around here someplace. Yeah.
That's like on Father's Day.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. Oh no. All the females, man, they get everything, but didn't get anything. So what's next? You got your birthday, and what is this?
Thanksgiving turkey.
That's a Thanksgiving turkey, and what's he doing?
Meow.
He's saying meow. Meow. Why is he doing that?
Okay.
He's trying to convince everybody he's a cat. So, he don't get eaten for Thanksgiving. Now look, how many people like Thanksgiving? I'm thinking maybe perhaps I'll be up here with you guys. Because my wife has already informed me for the last 52 years, she has cooked this big, huge meal. And all of the kids come in and eat our food and do all that kind of stuff and sit around and burp and break wind in our house. And then they go home. And she has to clean up everything. She said she ain't going to do that this year, so I'm not going to get any turkey. I'm not going to get any dressing. I'm not going to get any corn casserole. I'm not going to get any pies and cakes and stuff. So then she said, I ain't doing that for Christmas either. So, I'm wondering, we're in a good divorce lawyer.
Y'all watch the Cowboys lose from that?
Oh, I don't watch them, boy. I quit watching football when those guys told us, look, we're not making enough money. We need, they went on strike. You're going to, I only make $3 million a month. How is a person supposed to live on $3 million a month? So I need some money is what I need, some money. All right, then.
Ridiculous.
Okay, then. You're making more money in a day playing a child's game than I'm going to make my whole stinking life. So, no. I go to the football game, and it's because my grandson is playing. The 12-year-old. I'm sorry, but look, there's There's nothing wrong with football, it builds character and stuff in kids. I love it, but once you get to the professionals, I don't care. What's that again?
I was saying, if they making $3 million, that means the owner making $3 billion.
No,
So I'll be more.
no.
They making more.
Whatever. I don't know. You know, and look, let me share this before anybody gets mad at me. If I'm going to go out here and play any game at all, it's something that I enjoy doing, and somebody wants to pay me $30 million a day to do it, okay. That's just like the president said the other day, you know, I'm going to send everybody $2,000. Okay. I'll take that. Yeah, I'll take that. And if you want, look, when these guys told me, hey, look, we're going to pay you $400,000 a year if you'll just work here and you know, just kind of watch over Mr. Gold. I said, no, I don't want that. I ain't doing that. That's not enough money. That's not and of course, he knows I'm lying. So anyway, Thanksgiving is next. Then what happens?
Christmas.
Christmas happens then, and here's what that's the insanity clause, right? The insanity clause. Because if anybody that's going to come up on top of your house and think he been riding around in a thing all over the whole world behind some reindeer, he already mad because, you know, reindeer, they're streaking through the sky. They're going at 100,000 miles an hour to be able to get all over the world, and so they don't stop. They poop on the way, and here's Santa Claus. And Santa Claus got to get poop all over himself, and so that's how he can get down the chimney, because he's all slicked up when down there. And that's why he come in through this chimney, so that when he can hit down in the fire, it burn the poop off of him. Yeah, so he don't get it in the house. So, you know, y'all hadn't heard that, but see, that's truth. That's
new outlook on it.
Yeah, I know all this stuff. See? So he got, you know, you see where he is positioned in this entourage here, right?
Right.
He's positioned right behind where the reindeer do their business. So you know what's going to happen there. So he's going around. That's all happening.
Is it Rudolph in front?
Well, Rudolph's supposed to be in front, but that same person who is the artiste put Rudolph at the back of that thing. So, you know, I don't know what's going to happen now. Christmas might be late because Rudolph's in the wrong spot. So, all right, then what happened to this?
Frosty the Snowman.
Frosty the Snowman.
That's New Year's baby.
That's the New Year's baby.
Oh, okay.
But for some people, they think it's Frosty the Snowman.
Yeah, I'm saying that.
See what drugs will do to you? Yeah, this is the New Year. That's the New Year, baby. What's the deal about all of these things coming together at one time? Family, friends together. Everybody thinks you've got to have a little eggnog. Now, my son's an eggnog freak. He likes to drink some eggnog, and my grandson likes to drink that eggnog. I don't like it a whole lot myself, but they do. And a lot of people don't just drink eggnog. They put stuff in their eggnog. Right. You know, they spike that eggnog. And from this time here to this time here, there's all of these things that cause us to have some issues about drinking and using drugs. Everywhere. There's all sorts of things out there that says you're supposed to do this. Look, we're just having a little drink to celebrate the holiday. What's wrong with you? You know, what's wrong with you? We're all around here. Your whole family's together. Everybody's loving on one another. Everybody's got a little gift. I have a brother-in-law. He has the same name as I do. His name is Herschel, but he's about 7 foot tall. He's a big old guy. And every year, this one individual brings him a fifth of something else. He don't drink. But this guy has no idea how to buy people gifts, so he buys them a fifth of something. And so you know how your kitchens with the shelving is in there, and up on top of your cabinets, there's that space there. If you go to his house and look, there must be 35 or 40 bottles of booze sitting up there. Every time he buys him a bottle of booze, he sticks it up on that. So you know, everybody thinks that at Christmas or at New Year's especially, we're going to have to, you know, celebrate the new year coming in and the old year going out, the best way to do that is with some alcoholic beverage. The deal is if I celebrate Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, my birthday, or anything else with a little shot of an alcoholic beverage, what's that going to do? I'm going to go someplace. Oh, I'm going to go. I'm going to go. Yeah, I can't drink just one. It's just like that chip. Nobody can eat just one. I personally, I can't drink one beer. I can't do that. I can't have one shot. I can't do that. I can't have a little glass of wine. Look, I'm going to tell you the God's honest truth. I wish I could. I wish I could. I wish I didn't have this thing. I wish it didn't bother me like that, because I know people who can drink a couple of beers and don't bother them. They can go home. My wife's like that. She used to drink. She doesn't do it anymore, but she used to drink margaritas. And we go to a restaurant somewhere, and she'd have a margarita, and she'd leave about, margaritas about that. She'd leave about that much in the bottle. And the alcoholic in me is going, how you going to do that? That's a sin. That's a shame. That's real. I see it all around. People leaving a little bit. I want to go pour them all together. I want to go around the restaurant, make sure that they're all cleaned up, just to be a good citizen. I want to do all that. But she can do. There's people who can do that, and I deeply wish I was one of those people, but I'm not.
My excuse was, you paid $12.
You paid $12.
I'm finishing this.
And see, yeah, I'm starting to say I don't know. I don't know where you're getting the $12 one, because they're like $18. Yeah. But anyway, our goal is to figure out some way to get through the holiday season without having any alcohol or any of our own drug of choice, whatever that might be. We need to be able to get through the holidays. Here's the deal: the holidays is a stressful situation. One of the big stress. I know you guys got money, but one of the big things is buying people gifts and stuff like that. There's been times I don't have any money. I don't have the money to go buy you. So I learned real quick that if you give somebody some of your time, it's not the same. I made up some of these little cards one year, and I give one to my son and my daughter. This guarantees you a half a day of my time to do anything you'd ever like. Whatever you want to do. You just call me, and I thought that was a good idea for gifts that didn't cost me any money. You know how many of them have been redeemed? None. Not any of them. They threw that stuff in the garbage before I left. He didn't have no money. Look what he gave. And, since we're in here and we're not working, we may not have the money to buy the cars and the trucks and the stuff we want to buy. You had a question, comment, or snide remark? Go ahead.
I thought you was getting paid $400,000.
Oh, I know. I don't get paid $400,000. I won't work for that a little bit. So I decided I'd just do it, for free, because $400,000 that ain't enough to make me get out of bed anymore. No.
How much you mean?
About $3 million, like those guys playing. No, look, if I went in there and told my boss I needed $100,000, he'd probably laugh me to scorn. Counselors look beyond not beyond, but opposed to popular thought. We don't get paid much money. It ain't about the money. Most of these ladies here, they're here because we're in recovery. We found recovery, and we want to help other people find that same thing. You'll find very few counselors that are in the field that are not in recovery, because we know where you've been. We've been where you've been. We're still where you are, right? We're still exactly where you are, and so we're trying to give away what God helped us get, and so that's what that's about. Now they pay us a stipend. If you go to work at the prison out there, they'll start you off at about $28,000 a year. If you got a family, $28,000 a year ain't gonna buy you groceries. Because usually you go out there and you notice here, I'm the only guy here. Most of the people who work here are ladies. That's because a lot of the time, you got the husband is doing something else, working at the plant, making $14 billion a day.
Well,
and then say it again.
Ladies seem to have a more nurturing spirit about it anyway.
Yeah. And that's why I'm as mean, nasty as I am.
Well, you're definitely not an artist.
No, well,
Your day job.
now see, I might as well go. I ain't come off over here and get my feelings hurt.
Well, if you take one tooth off Cecil and put Rudolph in the front,
and your turkey looks like Big Bird.
Yeah. Well, hey,
It does look a little bit like Big Bird. All right. Man, there's a critic born every minute, you notice? Yeah, so you had something?
No, that was mine. That was what I was.
You wanted to get a tooth?
No, I wanted to talk about Big Bird.
You wanted to talk about my bird, man. All right. So what do we do about the holidays?
Pray.
We do pray. We get all prayed up and stayed up. That's feeds into what we're going to talk about a little bit. We need to be prepared. Look, there's not anybody here that doesn't know that Thanksgiving's coming, right? And one of the big deals, y'all, most of you know that I worked at the prison for 16 and a half years, and that was one of the, that's when most escapes happen. That's also when most suicides happen. And so, we had to be really cognizant about the holiday because people just, I can't go home. You guys here can, you're not, this isn't prison. So we're going to do something fun and all of that kind of stuff. Or if y'all decide, hey, I'm just going home, you could do that. It's not recommended. But in the prison, they can't. And so they're sitting there, and we got to have, sometimes they had pretty good food. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes I went to a place where they had, y'all ever seen that gelatinous turkey? They call it turkey, but it's in a can. Yeah, that's not good. I don't know. That's the turkey butts and the eyeballs and the tongues and things like that. And that was some nasty stuff. But we need to be preparing for holidays that are on the way. Here's the deal: no matter how we feel about it, no matter what we want, these holidays are coming anyway. They're gonna be here. They're going to be here. So I may be up here. I may not be with my family. My wife's not cooking this year. I've been married for 52 years, never had a real good reason for divorcing that girl. But, oh no, come on. No Thanksgiving meal, no Christmas meal. So I might as well, because I'll tell you, if the chef doesn't do it, if Q doesn't do it, somebody's going to bring something up here to eat. Usually a church or something will come in and supply a meal for the for people here and all of the other facilities. And so they do a pretty good job of that. So it might behoove me to come up here and do that. But we need to be prepared for that. We need to get our emotions under control. We need to get our emotions in check. We need to get our idea about what's going to go on in the holiday season so that we can make it through the holiday season without losing what we've done. Here's the deal. Holiday celebrations are usually much loved occasions. They're things that we have done, traditions that we have in our family that we've done forever. We have traditions at our house. Like I said, our kids all come over. We've got kids that live pretty far away, but they'll come over, sometimes spend the night. And, they bring our loot for Christmas. We'll take their loot. We'll have it all under the Christmas tree and all of that kind of stuff. And we do the same thing every year. And my wife cooks this meal. It is scrumptious. It's not good for you. It's corn casserole. Man, corn casserole. Good grief. That's some good stuff, but. Oh, yeah. But it'll just about kill you to eat it. If you're diabetic, corn casserole will send your stuff right up through the roof, man. So we shouldn't have, but it's really good. Say it again?
Who you talking to?
Oh, yeah. Filled with hot family, friends, fun. They come with the laughter, family time, parties, music, gifts, the joys of childhood, vacations, a whole lot more. They can also be a lot of stress for us. They're marked by family conflict sometimes. Alcohol and drug temptations are everywhere. Financial stress. Even if you got a good job and stuff like that. My wife and I learned years ago that we don't have to buy the kids everything the kids want. It's not a rule. not a law. But we try to buy every kid and every grandkid one gift, and then after that, we might get them a little something. I like to shop at the dollar store. we give a lot of toys and stuff out at church. Right around this time of the year, we start having kids show up to church. Now, okay, they know that sometimes in December they're going to get some toys from the church, and some of the kids that show up at our church are not going to get any toys from anyplace else. So about 2 years ago, I found some Frisbees for sale for 50 cents a piece. So a lot of kids got Frisbee. Yeah, and you think, okay, the Frisbee, 50-cent Frisbee, they're still out there playing. They had a big old field out there, still playing Frisbee. So it was a good buy. But lots of financial stress, time crunches. I was thinking about that this morning on the way in. I was thinking about, hey, what do I need to get for my wife, for Christmas? I'm going to have to get her something. Do we have a visitor?
Yeah. Oh, that's old boy's going back.
So there's time, and there's a lot of other challenges. They can be enjoyed, and our recovery can be protected, which is what's important. If you establish some necessary boundaries, we have to know what we're going to do. We also have to know what we're not going to do. And people who are involved with us need to know this is a boundary that I have set up in my life that we're not going to cross. You may want to cross that boundary, but it's not going to happen because this is my boundary, and we're not going to do that. See, I have several boundaries I have a little place out in the country with 8 acres of land. On my land, you can't drink. On my land, you don't smoke. On my land, we don't use profanity. That's the way that is. If you smoke, drink, use profanity, you don't need to come to my land. Not my house, my land. You don't need to walk in my front through my gate if you're drinking or smoking cigarettes. You just don't, or whatever you're smoking. We don't do that. We just don't do that at our house. And so since it's my house, since it's my land, I can make that call, right? So I've set up those boundaries. And in my life, I have those same boundaries. This is the temple of God. And so no alcohol, no tobacco is going to be brought into it. But the Bible tells us that it is not what goes into a man that defiles him, but what comes out. So therefore, no profanity, no nasty. And y'all know I'm in recovery from lying. I still do it. But usually now if I lie to you, I tell you quickly after that. That was not true. So I'm working on that. So we want to take a look, get those boundaries in place so that we can learn strategies to prevent holiday stress and to prevent depression, because stress will cause us to get into depression. What's a really good way to get out of depression? What's a really good coping skill to pull us out of depression? Exercise. That's a really good one. What else is a really good one?
Talking to somebody.
Talking to somebody, that's helpful. What else is wonderfully guaranteed? What is it? Praying helps me. What else?
Get a puppy.
A what?
A puppy. Dog.
A dog, you said?
He said.
A dog?
A puppy.
Okay, a puppy? Yeah, I like puppies, but they just take so long to cook, They just stringy. So, yeah, they stringy. One of the best coping skills for stress, depression, anxiety, all of that kind of stuff is, alcohol. Alcohol's good, or drugs. You notice how when people come to the front door, that completely disrupts the group?
Yeah, that one.
It does. Wonder if he's going to notice the sign and all of that stuff. Let's see. He noticed the door lock.
Go around back.
Thank you, Mr. Gold. Um, so, um, if we have depression or something getting in on us, a little bit of our drug of choice will usually help us get out of that depression temporarily, but what it does is throw us back into a relapse and screw us over big time. So knowing that, we have to work toward making sure that we have our boundaries in place, and it ain't going to happen. Now, look, people who are serious about their recovery are going to be able to do that. People who are really just playing games with us and with themselves, that's not going to happen. They're not going to put those boundaries in place, and they're going to find themselves messed up. And so we need to make sure we need to figure out first off where we are. If we're just trying to take a break, okay. I did that a bunch. I took a break from all this mess for a while. Got myself in a little bit better shape, and got myself ate for a few days, and then went right back. But once I got serious, and I said, okay, whatever is going to threaten my recovery, I'm not going to do it. So here's the deal. Y'all know this. I did a geographical escape, and I got away from my family and all of that because they're all alcoholics, addicts, all of that kind of stuff. So I left all those people alone. Look, they're going to be having their stuff at Christmas. Am I going to go visit with them at Christmas? No, I'm not. I'm not going to go there. I visited with my brother when I went on vacation. I was able to go and visit with my cousin, who is a really good fella, and he's a deacon in his church, and he doesn't drink, smoke, cuss, chase wild women. He doesn't do any of that stuff either, so that was safe. And then same thing with my brother in Mississippi. Went visited with him, but whatever their celebration over there, I'm not going to go to. And here's the other thing that may be sound a little bit nasty. They're not invited to my celebration. When I have a celebration, we celebrate with myself and my wife and our immediate family. We don't, those people who are using drugs now, I just said they're not allowed on my land. Even. My brother years and years and years ago said, hey man, I have a little RV. I'm going to come set it up on your land over there. I said, no, I love you, man, but I'm going to love you from afar. Stay in Mississippi. And that works out better for both of us, I think. Now, there's some troublesome holiday stress. Being around our loved ones for the holidays is cherished, is honored elements of traditional celebration. We've got things that we do. Now, this year, instead of all of that stuff, my wife's going to get a turkey breast, and she's going to cook a turkey breast, and then she's going to cook some vegetables. Those, what do they call? Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts and carrots and stuff like that. And so it's just going to be the two of us, and we're going to eat that mess. And, it's not going to be the same as it was before, but we're going to change those celebrations, and that's okay. Unless one of the kids say, hey, come over to our house. We might do that. Family gatherings can also be, they can be fantastic and all of that, but they can also be extremely taxing, stressful. We know that all of that stuff can happen there. Uncle Bob's going to be there. Bubba and Bubette, they're all going to be there. And they're all going to be, they come in drunk. They come in high. Yeah, they're all going to be there. Right. Jim and Mr. Bean, he'll be there. Yeah. Oh yeah, Johnny. All of those folk are going to be there. So that's a good reason for me not to be there. So family gatherings can be stressful, particularly if the family is dysfunctional. If people are using drugs in your family and all, they're dysfunctional. And if you get around dysfunction, it's going to cause you to have some dysfunctional attitudes and thoughts. And here's the deal. If your family's dysfunctional, you need to stay away from them. We talk about this all the time. We did a couple of treatment plans last night. And those treatment plans, they were in them. We want you to research and figure out why you shouldn't go around old people, places, and things. And here's the holiday. I want to go be with my mom. Is that a viable thing to do? That's my mom and my dad and my sisters and brothers. I want to be around those folks at the holidays especially, right? Yeah, I do. However, if mom's a crack addict and dad's a cocaine freak and both of my sisters and brothers are all selling drugs out the back door, then I'm not going over there. You know, and in my family, there was a lot of alcoholism because of using moonshine as we grew up. Now, I'm not going to get myself involved in a situation where everybody there is going to be a little bit out of sorts because they're drunk or they're high off of something or other. You know, in my family, you know what the drug of choice is?
Alcohol.
Alcohol's a big one, yeah. But actually, it's anything that'll make me feel dumb, different. Anything that'll make me feel, because we don't like our reality, and we're changing our reality. We don't like our moods, but we're changing our moods. So, lots of that stuff. So, my family, I can almost guarantee you, my family is going to be drunk, high. There's going to be at least one, maybe two, could be three fights, before all of that's over with. We enjoy that. It's fun. I love you. Here we go. Yeah, all the time. But holiday gatherings become a testing ground. Y'all hear this. This is important. Holiday gatherings can become a testing ground for how much emotional work you've done and how much still remains to be done. One of the emotional things is, I don't need to go around those people, but since they're my people, I need to go be with them. My brother used to be a real bad. He stopped smoking and drinking and all of that kind of stuff. We still don't associate much. We see each other about once every 10 years. I went to Mississippi. I wanted to take him out to eat, but he wasn't comfortable with going out to eat with me. So we met in the Walmart parking lot for 20 minutes. Compared trucks. He got a new truck. We got a new truck. Yeah, my wife got a new truck. So we compared trucks. About 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I gave him a birthday card and, because we don't need to be around each other. Out in public, when they call the police, we start doing, it's a little safer. So there's still a lot of emotional stuff there between myself and my brother. So there's several reasons why the holidays can be difficult for us. And we just need to know some of them are difficult for you. Some of them won't be difficult for you. It's different for different people, right? What's difficult for me may not bother you at all. So family strain. I got a lot of strain in my family. There was a lot of stuff that went on in my family. My mother was a practicing witch. My dad was a professional man. He was a professional thief, but he wasn't real good at it, so he was more in prison than out of prison when we were growing up. My brother had problems with the government. My younger brother had problems with the IRS and people like that. My older brother he's retired now, an FBI agent. So he was the one who went off and did something different. There's issues where loyalty and division resurface. We're loyal to our family. They come up, and there's going to be people in my family, if I went back there for the holidays, that would be insulted because I wouldn't have a drink with them. They don't need it. People say stupid things when you get into that situation. They'll say stuff like, I know you're trying to stay sober. I know you're in recovery.
And they have a drink.
Yes, but I would be a poor host if I didn't offer you a drink.
Yeah.
What? So you're a poor host if you don't destroy my life.
Yeah.
Because if I take that drink, my family's gone, my job is gone, my health is gone, but you're going to offer me just to be a good host. So I don't want to be around that host. But they'll act like, I'm your brother, I'm your sister, I'm your mom or dad, and you won't have a drink with me. And I love you. Yeah. I had a kid that was getting out of prison, been down for a while, and he was getting out of prison, and he came to see me. He said, Doc, I'm scared to death. I said, why? He said, well, I'm a stone cold alcoholic, and my mom wrote me a letter, and she said she's already got a keg, and she's going to have a party when we get home because she loves me. He said, I don't know what to do. That's my mother, and I love her. I said, well, I would hit the bricks going somewhere else. There ain't no way I'd show up at my mama's house. Because mama, maybe mom don't even know. Maybe she doesn't have any idea what she's doing, but she's doing it. And so I don't need to hang around there. We had a guy that was right in here, not in this one, but over at Avenue A, you do it. And he told us, he's going to stay sober. I said, that's some good stuff right there. He said, yeah, I'm going to go to such and such a place. I'm going to do one of them geographical escapes. I said, that's a great idea. He said, yeah, I'm gone, dude. I said, that's good. He said, I'm going to stop by Lufkin. I said, what are you going to do in Lufkin? He said, I got to visit my mama. I said, you going to stop by Lufkin visit? He said, yeah, that's my mama now. You can't be telling me I can't. He said, I'm going to go by there a day. I'm going to let her know a couple of days before I get there so she can clean up. So she can get straight. So she can get sober. I said, dude, you ain't got sense. God gave an apes rectum. You know, the reason you're going back there is not to visit your sainted old mommy, is to see what mom's got in her cupboard. You know, and so he just laughed me to scorn. It's his business. He's a full-grown man, right? He went to see mama. Well, yeah. He didn't make it but about, 20 minutes? And he's coming back a few days after that. Guess what? I don't know how it happened, but, sometimes we need to, there's a hierarchy in the family. The pecking order displays itself. Dad says, come on, boy, don't be telling me you ain't going to have a drink with me. Well, no. I'm not one that wants to have somebody have a fight with the daddy or nothing. But my daddy has passed away many, many years ago, sitting on the front porch of his little trailer. He got drunk, and a big old ice storm came through, and he died of cold on the front porch. So, and when we buried him, there were some boys in the family had to dig the grave with shovels because they didn't have the money to pay for a backhoe to dig the grave. All of his life, everything had gone to alcohol. So, bad things. So that hierarchy can take up. You are expected when you get back there, you're the oldest brother, you're the oldest sister, you're the youngest sister, you're that middle sister, middle brother. You are expected to take your role back up and start over again when you get back with your family. If you're the one who we're using, you're expected to do that. So that's why and you're in a dysfunctional family. That's a bad place. You also get reminded of recent failures. And that makes us feel what? Guilt, shame. Anybody had a recent failure? I've had one. I've had a recent failure. So your recent and this is what's tough. Your recent successes, the things that you've done right, are either not noticed or poo-pooed.
They're not going to say
right. No, they're going to. If they do, it's going to be negative. Yeah, anybody can quit drinking, you dipstick. Anybody can do that. That's no big deal that you hadn't drank in 2 years. Anybody. Well, you can't.
I'll say you try it.
Yeah, you try it. You do it. Yeah, I've had people talk about, do you drink milk? Yeah, I drink milk. Love milk. Okay, quit drinking milk for a year. Okay, not a problem. Got it. Give you $1,000 you quit drinking milk for a year. Got it. Okay. Give you $1,000 if you quit drinking alcohol for a year. Wait. I don't have a problem with alcohol, man. But I ain't gonna quit drinking it because I'm just okay. I like it. I like milk, but I can get off the milk, but I can't get off alcohol. So. Report of one another's success is painful compared to where you failed. Attitudes about alcohol and drugs have changed, but you remain unchanged to others. See, my attitude about alcohol and drugs changed. I figured out this is poison. This stuff is crazy. Putting alcohol or any kind of drug in my body is the dumbest thing I've ever done. What's the dumbest drug that I've ever put in my body?
Oh.
Well, all of them are dumb, but there's one that's dumber than any of them. Nicotine. That's the dumbest one that I've ever put in my body. Look at it. No, I like that nicotine. I enjoy that. I enjoy that nicotine. Reason I say that is because of the truth that tobacco in all of its forms kills more people every year than all other forms of death combined. It's the one drug that's going to kill you. Going to guarantee you're going to die from it. All of these drugs will kill you, but nicotine will get you quick. Negative behaviors such as gossip, criticism, sarcasm, belittling, teasing. Your family's going to do that. You know, your brother, I don't know about y'all's family, but my brother got a big brother, got a little brother. We fought from the day that we knew how to do that till we split up, you know. And my big brother is actually my big brother. He's about 6'3", and he's a big old boy, you know. And my little brother's about the same size I am, but he's really skinny. So we would gang up on him, you know. Wait until he ain't looking, and then jump him. He usually beat the fire out of us anyway. But we got one or two good licks in. That's what brothers do. You know, and when you go there back in that situation and you don't want to be part of that anymore, you get looked down on. You know, what do you think? You're better than us? Have you ever heard that? I've heard that. I've heard that from people that I grew up with and all of this stuff. Go back in. I come from Meridian, Mississippi. Go back over there. Got a friend over there named Charlie Webb. Well, you think you're better than me, huh? Yeah, I do. You know, but when they're doing that, they want you to get peace. See, y'all ever heard that old adage, misery loves company?
Absolutely.
It's true. It's absolutely true. Look, I can't get away from alcohol. I can't get off of the drugs you have. I don't appreciate you being free, so you need to come back with me. Yeah, I love you, but I don't know you sober, so I need you to get back to the place where you're drunk or you're high so that I can get you back to where I know you.
Then after they get you back, they come.
Oh, yeah, after they get you back, that's done. They got your money, they got your stuff, and you're gone and all of that stuff. Many people, there's old feelings of rejections, being misunderstood, underappreciated. You know, you and I know that this thing where I got off of alcohol and drugs and I got myself clean, that is the greatest achievement I've ever done in my whole life. And I've done some great, that's probably the second or third greatest achievement in my life. Running into and accepting Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, that's number one.
Sir.
That's the greatest thing that's ever happened in my life. Number two, you know, getting myself sober is a real close second to meeting with my life partner. You know, I mean, those two are running pretty neck and neck there as number two. So you know, it's a big deal to me. But when you get over there, your family can sometimes belittle that. That don't mean as much to them as it means to us. That doesn't mean as much to my family as it does to me. They're still using. You know, they're still messed up in that junk. And, you know, so some of that stuff is like that. A lot of people have a difficult time during the holiday season. Throughout the year, but especially from mid-November, and so we know it starts at early November because my birthday, I got 2 shirts with no pockets. Y'all hear me? 2 shirts with no pockets, and for some reason those shirts are real super thin. I don't know why. You know, that girl, I ain't gonna let her buy me no more shirts and socks. Now the socks I like, but other than that, but throughout the year, especially from November to mid-January. Managing mood, attitude, disposition is extremely important. We need to do it. You have the ability to make good lifestyle changes and choices. So when I look in here, that's one of the reasons we do the assessment that we do. Because we want to see where you are on a mental level. Not mental, but cognitive level. Where you are. We don't have any goofy people. We have some people sleeping in groups, or trying to, but we don't have any goofy people. You know, we don't have any stupid people in our group. If you're at the place where you're not cognitively on a level where you can gain something from the program, we ease you somewhere else. You need to be on a good cognitive level to be able to do this, right? And so we have some pretty intelligent people in here, so we know that we can do those things. Here's some troublesome holiday stressors. We're going to run through them real quick. Family conflict. You know, if you had some family conflict before you were out there and you got yourself sober, when you go home, that conflict's still there. If you didn't have any family conflict and your family is a family of users and you go home sober, then you're going to be the source of the conflict. They don't like you like that. They don't like you like that. So there's family expectations that you have to deal with. You know, sometimes it goes exactly the opposite way. My family expects this out of me. My family, when we went to have a little time together, and I went over to my family's home, they expected me to bring what? Case of beer. That's what you brought. You brought a case of beer. You know, if we all got together, there's 3 brothers and 5 sisters. If everybody brought a case of beer, it'd be a good idea if nobody went home after that. You know, yeah. We didn't do that. We got so drunk we couldn't see, and then we went home. You know, so it's bad. Oh yeah, man, it's bad stuff. So we have food temptations. There's stuff there that we know we shouldn't eat, and so, but we do anyway. And some of the time, the food really goes well with the drink. You're going to eat fish. There's certain wines that go really good with fish. You know, if you're going to have some barbecue, what goes with barbecue? Beer. Nice cold beer. Yeah, we want to do that stuff.
Margarita with Mexican food.
Yeah.
Crawfish with beer.
Yeah. I quit eating Mexican food. We took some of the Mexican food that we were eating, been loving it for years, but we took it out and we had it checked, you know, analyzed. It's not made from real Mexicans. It's not. It's not. There's alcohol temptations. There's drug temptation. You know, when your brother comes in suffering from ataxia, okay, that's going to trigger the snot out of you. It will. Unrealistic expectations from other people. Yes, you can have a drink. You know what? Look, I know who you are. You are a strong person, and I've seen you drink a beer before and never bother you. I've seen you do that. Yeah, that's when my tolerance level was way up here. Yeah, and I can drink 4, 5, or 6, or 8 beers without it bothering me. If I drink one right now, it's going to destroy my life. You know, but they'll tell you those things. Unrealistic expectations. All kinds of time constraints and all kinds of pressures. Unrealistic expectations of myself. I see that a lot. And I see us fail in that a lot. What that means is I go by the bar and I say, you know, I can go in there. I can go and sit down. I don't have to drink. I can drink a Coke and I can play pool. I got a guy that I'm been dealing with him for a long time, and he's white-knuckling it. He's been sober now for about 4 years. But he says every time, I still go to the bar. Well, congratulations. Dang, look at this. What is this guy doing? Is that a beer distributor? I'm fixing to have a fit. Good, great. So anyway, unrealistic expectation. Yes, I can have a beer, or yes, I can go in the bar, or yes, I can go to that party knowing they're all going to be zonked. None of that. None of that is true. Financial pressures. That can cause us to do those kinds of things. Grief and loss from the past. He ain't got sense enough to read it. Grief and loss from the past, that can cause us something. Pressure to look good in front of other people. That can do that as well. All right then. So what do you think now? Let's take a break. We'll be back in here about 15 minutes after, and we'll start again.
Good.
Thank you. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, man, just put it in my room. I mean it. We ain't got that. We don't have that right now. It's not a real tree. Yeah. What's going on? No, I don't land. I want to land. I'm going to get a land. Oh! It's not me from real eggs.
What is this? Yeah, this is it. I'm looking at everything now.
You reading the sign?
Can I get one of those?
Yes, sir. Here, yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I got it. What? I'm already smashed.
Looking good.
What are you talking?
To Andrew? Yeah, you can put it.
What are you talking about? Hey, a day or two.
Huh?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying a day or two.
Yeah, he was like right there behind. Let's see open.
Broken in.
Five.
Okay, who got clothes on the floor in that room?
Huh?
Who clothes on the floor in that room? How that big? They got some clothes on.
By the side of the door.
By the closet door?
That's Bryce.
Yes, sir. Oh, there you go.
Huh? Like,
Hey.
so I don't know. I'm sure there's some, like, it's the beds that are, I'm sure there's some beds that like, clients aren't in.
I think some got two hours.
He's in room 6, bed 25. He's just got sheets on there. So
Okay, is that their first name?
yes, so he needs a blood.
Okay, I do.
Thank you.
Okay. Definitely. So.
You got some spaghetti, some soup box, some sandwiches at lunchtime. I'll give you my sandwich for 3.5. Like that. You can spaghetti at night. Don't get some good. Like getting good. I don't know if they need it. I ain't gonna leave now, but I know.
I still got this shit.
I don't think that's a reason. It's like chicken meat. I know that thing. Put it out.
I got this shit.
Whatever we need, we buy.
I got this drinks. Said.
You got my number, man? You got my number? I told you, I come school.
You should take these up. Thank you. What? How you doing today, guys?
Wake up, what's up? Just text me.
Okay.
Okay, text me up on something. Just text me. Just us.
Really? Yeah.
I got you. Roger, I got that right. Thanks. Excuse me.
Comforter slavery. Your clients gotta have a comforter. Y'all got 20 out there.
Better not take mine. Bet you bet. Bet you bet. They better go with some more comfort.
So, you just told me.
Oh, well, because she already said it, so they have I'm gonna make that. So you got two comforters on it. I saw
I mean, they switch shit up every day. Just like we need to comfort, not everybody. Push. Just the other week, it was keep one putting in your car. They're not take mine. Kind of bullshit.
I got a great link. That's all I got.
I got a comforter and that regular blanket. Knowing her, she gonna call that a comforter too.
Yeah.
I know her. I can wait till Tuesday. You gonna get worse.
And I got to talk with the one, okay? You know what's nice when you just said love and
That's Andrew.
huh?
Andrew.
Hey.
Thanks, Andrew.
Oh, we got this guy in.
Yeah, he was here. He was here.
What else? Hey, we was talking with you. I got paid during the night, they figured it out. If I see if I can do it right now, I'll check it and see.
All right, just about time.
And ain't nobody in here.
There's not no, but look, there's two of you guys.
I think we did 8 voices.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna get no better, it's gonna get worse.
Do what?
It ain't gonna get no better, it's gonna get worse.
Don't get worse. As long as you have a good attitude about it. And
I'm good with it.
It's group time. Group time.
all right, ladies. I know that you're all back. We may be ending a little bit early, but if we do, I bet you'll be all right with it. So,
I know.
what up?
I'm asking like,
At the end of your group, cigarette run will be at 3 p.m. today. Do you mind if I make a?
You want to do it now? When they get in, I will. We're going to get started here in a second, ladies. We have an announcement that we have to start 2 minutes.
come on, guys. Come on, group time. Yeah. At 3 p.m. today, there will be a cigarette run. I want to let everybody know while you're in here all at the same time. You need to purchase enough cigarettes to last you until the next cigarette run, as our age will not be leaving on or doing cigarette runs, period. That's not something that they're allowing anymore. It's going to be through transportation on Wednesdays and Fridays. So it's known.
Size more?
No. No, what do you mean size?
So, what are they going to take us to?
She go, I think she can on transportation today. She'll be here to do that.
She said after food truck. After food truck. This is going to come after food truck.
At 3.
Yeah.
The question is, she just can live on the wall.
Right.
Because my council is going to come visit me. They told me to know so we get approved. I decided something to wait.
Sponsor.
Yeah. I said council.
Look at all this.
Okay, then, they're doing a cigarette run at 3 p.m. today. Transportation is.
That's what it's called.
Okay, great.
And that's what I was going to say. We had an announcement over here that we're having a cigarette run at 3 o'clock. The other alternative is that we can all wise up and just quit smoking. So, that would be the mostest goodest thing that we could do, right? So, real quickly, here's how we're going to handle the holiday pressure. Probably smoke a lot of those cigarettes you guys are going to go and purchase. But other than that, there are some things that's going to happen, or not going to happen, but could happen. One of those things is holiday depression. Over the holidays, people do tend to become a little depressed and all of that. If I don't get a shirt with a pocket, yeah, and I'm gonna give me some new T-shirts and some underwear and some things like that. And if they're not just plain perfect, then I may get depressed. But here's some ways that we can deal with some of that stuff. For those suffering from depression, it makes holidays even worse, because holidays can be especially difficult if you're already suffering from depression. But if you're not suffering from depression, the issue with holidays can make people depressed. It's supposed to be a fun, fantastic, wonderful time of year, and a lot of times that's not so for me. So we got to look at some things. What am I going to do? Because I don't want to be. Look, depression can be debilitating, right? Depression can cost you your life. You can die from being depressed. A lot of people commit suicide. A lot of people do things like, do some crazy things, use the wrong type of drugs, and a lot of alcohol and driving and stuff like that because of depression. And a lot of that can lead to an end of our lives, and we don't need that to happen. So holidays can be difficult. In the midst of all the tasks and responsibilities, the junk that goes on in the holidays, it's important to get the support that you need. So during the holidays, we need to have that support. We may benefit from increased social support when facing a difficult holiday. Now, here's the bad thing about that. It shouldn't be a difficult holiday. We should prepare ourselves for that holiday that's coming, and know that, hey, you know what? If I'm all by myself, I can still have a good holiday. I can be okay all by myself. That makes me a standalone individual. I'm not codependent on anybody. If I have, like this year, we don't believe our kids are going to come to our house. They may drop by, but they're not coming for a big meal and stuff like we usually do. We're not going to do that either on Thanksgiving or on Christmas. So we're going to have a different plan. So we're going to have a different plan with what we're going to do. So here's the deal. Prevention is always the best medicine, right? Once I get sick, I may need medicine. And some medicine is really good for me when I get sick. But prevention is better than having to take the medicine, right? It's much better. So prevention is the best medicine. If you struggle with holiday stress, and look, there's a lot of people that just struggle with it. When I was growing up, y'all remember Christmases and stuff when you were growing up? When I was growing up as a kid, Thanksgiving was a non-entity. We didn't have any food. We ate what we could. So we didn't really have much food at all. We were just subsistence stuff. And I saw a thing on Facebook the other day, one of them big old long thing was actually about that long, a big square thing of cheese. And it says, does anybody know what this? Oh yeah, that's government cheese. That's good cheese. It tastes about like that cheese we have out there now. It was good cheese. But then we got one of those chunks of cheese a month. And then some beans and some flour and stuff like that. Over in Mississippi, we didn't get rice because we don't eat rice in Mississippi the way the folks here in Texas do. Over there, every now and then we'd have a little rice, but I came over here and you guys have it every meal and then had to snack between every meal. Y'all didn't eat rice. We didn't do that over there. So, and then for Christmas, We didn't get any gifts. The churches and places like that sometimes would give us gifts, and they would wrap them in the nice little colorful packages. You open them up and they're socks, or you open them up and they're underwear. Now let me tell you something. We needed socks and we needed underwear, but don't do that. If you're going to help some kid, that wrap them up a truck or a toy. Well, talk about being disappointed when you unwrap something you think's going to be a little airplane or something, and it's a pair of socks. That's horrible. So don't do that to kids. Yeah, let kids be a kid. Okay, they need underwear and they need socks and stuff. Buy them underwear and socks and then buy them a gift. So if you struggle with holiday stress, it's called seasonal affective disorder. It's actually a diagnosis. It's called SAD, seasonal affective disorder, or it can also morph into depression. Especially important to have a plan in place, something you're going to do, and then follow that list. Make your list, things I'm planning on doing. What we said at the beginning of this diatribe is we need to plan for this holiday. So here's the deal. I need to enjoy the present. Why do we all get depressed and all? We don't all. But why do some people get depressed and all of that stuff? If I relive my childhood, I remember one time my brother and I were waiting on our lunch, and my mom brought each one of us a pancake. That was it. We called them back in Mississippi flapjacks. Yeah. And so we had flapjack. And that was it. One flapjack apiece and a glass of water that Mom had cooked on an open fire in our fireplace. Yeah, that's pretty bad. And so we're sitting there and we're cutting up our flapjacks and we're pretending it's meat. My little brother said, mine's a steak. I'm cutting mine up and I said, mine's bologna. So I didn't have as high a taste as he had. But that's bad stuff. And if I sat around this year and think about what happened to me as a kid, that could get you into one of those places of sad, or it could get you into a place of depression. So don't do that. I live in the present, because if I'm not going to have a big old meal like we've had every year and all that stuff, but whatever we do have is going to be good, because my wife is going to make, like I said, a turkey breast. I love that stuff. I like turkey a lot. And so we're going to have a turkey breast and some vegetables and all of that kind of stuff, and we're going to have a good meal. So I'm going to live that holiday in the present. What's going on now. So that's kind of like mindfulness, We're going to practice mindfulness. We're going to talk about what's going on right now. Not what happened in the past. I'm not going to live the past. I'm not going to bring all that stuff back up and all that kind of crazy mess. I'm not going to think about what the future is going to be without this and without that. I'm going to live for right now. So if you guys are here on Thanksgiving, we're going to have a nice meal here. Somebody said, I'm going to bring some turkeys in here, and I'm going to cook some turkeys, and I'm going to do all of this other kind of stuff and all of that. And he fancies himself a cook, and some of the ladies that have sampled some of his food will attest to that. They say, well, he's a pretty good cook. Yeah. So, there's going to be, however it works out, there's going to be something nice going on here on that day. So we live in the present, live in the moment, and not the past. Number 2, and this is the mainest, most important, this biggest thing, remain drug and alcohol free. Because drinking and drug use is just going to cause that feeling of depression to get deeper. That's going to, that will feed into that, because that's going to be telling us, hey, look, we failed again. So we need to make sure we're alcohol free, we're drug free, all of that stuff. And this one is big, and we can do it. Sometimes people have an issue with it, though. But look at the future. How many people know that we all have a future? We need to look at the future with optimism. You do have a future. Whether that future is going to be great or whether that future is going to be crappy, a lot of it is up to us. It's up to us, going forward. Here's the deal. What does a person get out of life? That again?
What he puts into it.
What he puts into it,
Lessons.
and what you really want. If you really want it, you'll do what it takes to get it. Broke the whole place. The whole place. See, the whole place. Over exaggeration. The whole place has got broke. So, look at the future. Look at your future with a positive outlook. You know, we're going to look at the future with optimism. Only look. If we get off drugs and alcohol, let me tell you something. Only good things follow. Only good things. Before, when I was using drugs and alcohol, I had absolutely nothing. Nothing. But after I got alcohol and drugs out of my life, things began to come. Things began to build up. Nothing but good after that. There were days when I didn't have a lot to eat after I stopped. Because I got, like I was telling you guys, when I got to the place where I was a counselor, went into the counseling field, the money went from where I was making to way down here. So there were days when it was kind of slim pickings, you know. There were days when there weren't much there. But you know what I did last night? Anybody got any idea what I did last night? Y'all don't know?
Clean up the kitchen, you put the doggone thing, clean up the dog hair, what else?
Pray.
I pray. Oh, I pray all the time. Yeah.
I don't know if you work out.
The point is, I know what I did last night. You don't have to. I know what I did last night. There was a time I didn't. I'd spend the day wondering and worrying about what happened last night because I didn't know. Did I kill somebody? Did I run over somebody? Did I get it? You know, all of these things. I didn't know. But now, today, I know exactly what I did. I didn't leave up here till 5:30, which ain't kosher, but that's what I did. And then I got back home. It was well after dark. All of that kind of stuff when I finally got home. But I know exactly what I did, and I know what I did when I got home. And that's a big deal. Even if I don't have a lot right now, I know what I did last night. And that's a big deal. You know, so even if we don't have a lot, we have a lot. Right? I have a lot. I'm going to eat today. I've already eaten. I steal as much of y'all's cheese as I can. That's good cheese. I eat that cheese. I bought some other cheese. I paid it back. I bought some other cheese and I brought it up here and left it out there for you guys yesterday. But I do apologize. That cheese ain't nearly as good as that cheese. It was.
I tasted it.
Yeah.
Yesterday at the box.
Yeah.
I tasted. They had one that was in the bag under the counter, and some up top, and I ate the food that was in there and cold something. I tasted it. Yeah. Yeah,
there was a difference. And so anyway, look to the future. Plan ahead. Hey, Thanksgiving is coming. What's Thanksgiving about? Giving thanks. Well, you ask people what Thanksgiving's about. A lot of time, turkey and dressing, and cornbread dressing, and oh my gosh, and corn casserole, and 3-bean salad. You know that. Oh, and a day off, and oh. No. Thanksgiving is about giving thanks to God Almighty for all the things He's done in your life. Well, God hasn't done anything for me. You need to look around. You're alive today. The Bible says your next breath, right? He promises you your next breath. One. He's not promising you one after that. So, yeah, you're here. The Bible says that your whole body, everything in you is there because. And so I need to be thankful. I need to be thankful. I'm thankful that God put the wife that I have in my life, even though sometimes she can be a total, complete, and utter butthead. I'm thankful that He put her in. I'm thankful that He called me into this field. I'm thankful that He called me to preach. I'm thankful and I'm thankful for that cheese that I stole from you guys. Yeah. And here's the deal. Just being totally honest with you, I'm probably going to steal some more. They keep putting it out there. I like it. I like that cheese. So it's good. So I'm thankful for that. But plan ahead. Know this is what's going to happen on that day. And I need to get up on Thanksgiving First off, being thankful. I'm sober. I'm so sober. I am sober. And the Thanksgiving fairies are going to come by, and there's going to be turkey everywhere in the world. You know, and turkeys aren't as cheap as they used to be, but they're also not all that expensive, so everybody ought to be able to get some turkey meat. Eat turkeys. I love turkey. I love it. I love all the trimming. You know, I'm going to have it this year. But my wife has promised she's going to make me a pie. And she makes these sugar-free pies. They're keto pies. And she makes a chocolate one. It's really good. I'd love to have something else. I like pecan pie and all of that stuff, but I don't know about the sugar stuff. So plan ahead. Some structure can be helpful to your recovery. This is what I'm going to get up being thankful. I'm going to go and I'm going to have me a nice meal. I'm going to be thankful for that meal. I'm going to get with some of the other guys and maybe watch a couple of good Thanksgiving movies. There's some good stuff. Now, I don't know what the thing's going to be, the schedule's going to be here on Thanksgiving, but I know it's going to be a holiday schedule. This place, we don't close. We're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365. So our facilities are open. That's why you're going to have a counselor here. I think it's Miss Casey is going to be here that day. And if my day, I just started work full time on the 27th of October, so I really don't have any time. So my boss lady may tell me, you gonna be up here on Thanksgiving. If I am, I'm gonna eat some of your food. That'll be good. So plan ahead. Don't set yourself up for disappointment on that day, comparing today with the good old days. Right? I'm not going to do that. I know the good old days, and I was thinking about that the other day. When she told me she's not going to do that, she did have all of these things, all of that food, and the kids would come and they would all eat, and we would all eat, and then that stuff would get put in the ice box, and we'd pull it back out, and we'd eat on it for 2 weeks, and it just was too much. After a while, it's just terrible. You don't want to eat that stuff anymore. And so this time we're going to have one meal, and then it's over with. We're going to clean up everything. So it's going to be better in some ways than what it was in the good old days. So, don't set yourself up for being disappointed. This isn't home, but the food's going to be just as good. This isn't home, but we still have some friends, and we have some compadres, and we have some people here that are in the same boat that we're in, right? So we can have a good time. So if you're lonely, schedule some time with some volunteers. Get with some of your friends. Get with some of your counselors. Do some stuff like that. If you begin to feel lonely, hang out. If you're not going to be here, some of you may be out of here by that time. If you're going to be out of here by that time, hang out with sober friends. Look. I've asked people to raise their hand of people who still had using friends. And there's people in here who still have using friends. And the reason we still have using friends is what? So we'll know where the drug is, so we can go get it when we need it, it's a good excuse for bad behavior. I'm going to go over to Bubba's house. Now, I know Bubba used it, okay, but I don't use no more. So I'm going to go over and sit around with Bubba, and I'm going to let Bubba know, now, Bubba, if you start using in front of me, now I'm leaving. All right, you got that. And Bubba, my friend, before you get Bubba's house away, you're going to be high in the car. He's going to help you get beyond your recovery. So if we're going to be out of here, we need to hang out with sober friends or sober family. If we don't have any sober family, we need to go make some sober friends. There's a few of them down at the local AA, and I'm going to guarantee you the AA groups are going to be buzzing on Thanksgiving and Christmas. They'll be open. They don't close either. They'll be there. So hang out with sober friends. Look, and here's another thing that's really good. Find some free holiday activities that also support your recovery. We're going to have some free holiday activities in here that's going to support recovery. There's also stuff out there that does that. There's a lot of holiday things that happen out there that you can do. There's parades, there's all sorts of stuff. that you can go do that's free and will keep your mind off of that stuff. Try something new. Celebrate in a way you've never celebrated before. Start a new tradition. When I was at the prison, we had a thing on Thanksgiving. We would, have the big Thanksgiving thing and all of that stuff. And then at Christmas, we had a lady there that weighed about 90 pounds, and she would come out with a red nose. I told y'all this the other day. And she would always put that on. She'd try to find the biggest guy, and she'd put that red nose on him. And, he was Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And we would sing holiday songs, and we would have all sorts of things, and we'd make gifts for each other and all of that stuff we'd never, ever, ever done before. Turned out pretty good. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes people get mad. Sometimes people get angry. And, sometimes we have to, because she wasn't smart. We say, don't force somebody, but she would do it anyway. And she usually always got somebody, whoever she wanted to wear that nose, they'd wear that nose before it was over with. So do something new. Spend some time with caring, supportive people. Where are you going to find caring, supportive people? Here, there's caring, supportive people. If you're out there in the world, there's caring, supportive people at the AANA Celebrate Recovery. There's supportive people there. That's why they're doing what they do, because they care and they are supportive people. And so that's why they're there. So we can go out and do that. One of the big things that I think is really a fabulous deal is to make some new friends, to reach out, make new friends. We've got old friends who use drugs and alcohol. There's a whole lot of new people out there that can be my friend without the use of drugs or alcohol. Think about this. Your old friends don't want to be around you unless they're high. That must say something about you. They can't stand you unless they're inebriated. So find somebody that doesn't use and make friends with those people. Go to that AA. We've already been talking about this. But attend extra AA or NA meetings. Go do something, and that's caring, supportive people in your AA group, your sponsor, and all of those people. Increase your level of accountability to who? Yourself. Yeah. Increase your level of accountability to yourself, but then also call someone, let them know where you are going. I think I'm going to go over to Bubba's house. You don't need to be at Bubba's house. Bubba's a drunk. You know Bubba's a drunk. Bubba's always been a drunk. Bubba was born a drunk, and he's still a drunk. So you don't need to go to Bubba's house. You need to stay away from Bubba's house. So don't go there. So you call somebody that's on your side that is supportive. They're going to tell you what? Don't go to Bubba's house. Get away from Bubba's house. You don't need to do that. So it will be with you, and when you're going to return. Just be accountable to yourself and then be accountable to somebody else. Sometimes it's easy for me to say, I'm accountable to myself. But we don't want to be accountable to somebody else. I'll call Mr. Adams up and say, hey, look, this is where I'm going. I'm going to go over here and do this. We're going to have a meal, and I'm going to do this, and then we'll be home by 2 o'clock. So at 2 o'clock, he can expect to call my house and find me answering the phone, because I'm going to be accountable to my accountability partner. So make time to reconnect with sober and safe people. We're always reconnecting. When you leave from this place, you're going to reconnect, right? You're going to be reconnecting to some people. We need to make sure that the people we're reconnecting with are sober people. We don't need to connect with people who are not sober. Make time to reconnect with sober, safe people you don't often hear from or see. See, my brother over in Mississippi is sober now. Think it's safe for me to reconnect with him? It is on that level. It's safe because I know he's not going to have any booze. He don't smoke anymore. He smoked for 50 years. He quit smoking when he was 55. He started when he was 5. And so at 55, he quit smoking. So he don't smoke. He don't He don't drink. He don't use any kind of anything. He don't use any kind of profanity or anything like that. He's a safe person to be around. He's also like, what, 8 hours away? So that'd be kind of hard for me. So I'm going to reach out and find some other people. And he's safe on that level. He may not be safe on some other level because some of the stuff he and I did together, I don't need to be reminded of that. So I may not need to be with him. I may need to be with somebody else. So listen to some soothing, relaxing music when I'm starting to feel a little crappy. Rudolph the Red-Nosed, something that's going to make you feel better. Something's going to make me feel good about what's going on. Something's going to make me feel good about the holiday. So, and this is, I don't know, look, this says resist the urge to overeat. Why does that have anything to do with my recovery?
It could become an addiction.
It is an addiction. And the deal is, if I overeat, if I overindulge, I open the door for me to indulge in other things. And so if I get completely just bloated and go in the living room and sit down and somebody sets a beer or something in front of me, it'll be gone before I know it. So it takes away my willpower. I've already done it, so I've already eaten one cookie. May as well eat the whole box. So, make time to recreate. Make time for yourself. You've reconnected with all of those other people. What do you really like to do on Thanksgiving?
Football.
Football.
Football and eat.
Eat and football, So someday they're going to eat a football, I don't know. But, and is there anything wrong with watching football on Thanksgiving? No, there's nothing wrong with watching football. Football's fine. It's a game, and it does build integrity, and it builds, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know what it is, but it builds character and all of that stuff in the little guys that are 10, 11, and 12 playing football. Watch them all day long. I remember my grandson, he was and I'd go watch him play football. His mom was the team nurse. My daughter's a nurse, and she would always be out there with him. And he sprained his ankle one game, and he came in. Man, he could barely walk, but he's begging his mama. She had the authority. She's the team nurse to put him out of the game. But he talked to her, and she wrapped his stinking leg, and her friend was the other team nurse, and they got together and wrapped that boy's leg, wrapped his ankle, and sent him back out there. And he managed to stay in that game for about 3 seconds. Once he got back on that field, it was and he was back in before you know it, but he was completely destroyed, because he couldn't finish the game. And that is entertaining. That is great. That is building all of those things we need to build. But when you're, begging for more money and stuff like that, okay, you're playing a game. But look, I do understand them wanting that because you can get hurt and you're done. You're done. And if you don't have a couple of dollars, then you're going to have to go somewhere and beg on the side of the road or something. I don't know. But so make time for yourself. Know what it is that you like. If you want to watch football, I think that you should be able to watch football and do some other stuff. Now, my brother is going to go hunting. He still lives in Mississippi. His house is here, and right across the street from him is a deep, dark woods. And he's going to go across the street. He's going to go hunting. Back in Mississippi, they hunt deer, of course. They hunt rabbits. They hunt squirrels. They'll eat squirrels, eat little squirrels that run around out here. They'll cook them down with rice or with potatoes or something like that. And then they'll pull them out. They leave the heads on them. And they'll knock a little hole in the head and suck the brain out. That's not me. That's the other people. I don't do that. I don't want to eat anything brain. I just don't want to do that. But anyway, they do. So he's going to go across the street. He's going to go hunt. That's what he does. If he's not going to go hunting, he usually does that on Thanksgiving. He's going to go fishing. Because either hunt, that's what he is. He's an outdoorsman. He's going to go hunting. He's going to go fishing. Something that's for me. Now, me, I'm usually going to go in and watch a good movie or something. I've gotten my meal eaten. I've visited with my kids as much as I want to. I'm going to go sit and I'm going to turn on my television and I'm going to watch It's a Wonderful Life or something like one of those old movies, Miracle on 34th Street or something, that I enjoy doing. Then I'll probably wind up in my office writing or something and seeing what goes on. So make time for yourself. Do what you need to do and let others. This is a big deal. When we get out of here, we may not have to do it here, but we're going to have to do, cleaning up and doing all of that stuff. We're going to have to do all those things. We're going to have to help. But let other people share in the responsibilities. Don't be the only guy that cleans up. Don't be the only girl that goes and does all the cooking. That's what's happened to my wife for the years and years. She's been the only one that's done all the cooking. Now, my son got married to a young lady that's from Nigeria, and she brings African food to Thanksgiving. And I don't know, you may know exactly what African food is like, but if you don't, let me tell you something. Make sure you got water or milk or something because it is hot. It is hot. She gets special beans that come from Africa, and they look like black beans. They're not the normal black beans we have. These are black beans from Africa. And she cooks those, and she cooks them with some rice and some other stuff. And oh my God, my youngest son and my oldest son, they eat that stuff. I took a bite of it. The flavor is good, but it'll blow the top of your head off. It's terrible. So anyway, she's a wonderful Christian young lady. Love her to pieces, but cooking is not her forte. Yeah, I mean, she cooks that, but it's not in Africa. She could be the best cook there. I don't know, but it's just so hot I can't eat it. Now my son has learned to eat it. You love the girl, you got to eat the food. So make time for yourself. Know what it is that you want to do. Know what it is that you can do, and then let somebody else share the holiday responsibilities. And that's what my wife has decided. She's done this for 52 years. She's 71, and just standing up at the stove causes her some issues. And so she's not going to do it this year. And my daughter has my son-in-law, all of it. He's got like 30 brothers and sisters. They're all coming to their house for Thanksgiving. So we're not going to go. We have no desire to go over there with all of that going on. My other kid, Gloria, the girl from Nigeria, they live way up in Norman G. Y'all know where that is? That's about an hour above Huntsville. It's way up there. It's nice up there. But that's a long ride. And if I can't get my time lined out here, I'm going to have to be here the day after Thanksgiving if I'm not here the day of Thanksgiving. So going up, 4-hour drive up, 4-hour drive back, eat a piece of turkey and some too hot African food, I don't know if I want to do that. Yeah, you have to stop at every ditch on the way home to drag your tongue through the water. So make time for yourself. Get those holiday responsibilities lined out so that somebody else can help you do it. And here's a big deal: is just get outside. Go outside sometime. You guys don't have a great big outside, but you do have an outside. You don't have to sit in here all the time. We do have one facility where the outside is not nice. We have one facility that I go to often, but it's just not nice. Outside is parking lot, and that's about it. Here, we have some trees and some squirrels and some stuff, and we can walk around out here. They don't like us going up this way too much because that invites people who have nefarious ideas to come here. So they want us to stay back off in this area. But we do have a nice little area there. And then over at the North Point, we do have that whole, we got a big old whole area there at North Point where we can walk. There's half a mile or more stuff there at North Point, and you got over on that side over there a bunch of trees and stuff, so you can walk through the trees. There's a table out there you can sit, just like we have a table in the woods as well. So get outside a little bit, or at least sit by one window, watch the squirrels, at sometimes other than group time. As often as possible. The sunshine and the fresh air help to minimize symptoms of seasonal affective disorder. SAD. It will help you. Sunshine. What does sunshine give you?
Vitamin D and E.
Vitamin D. What else? Human.
Dopamine.
Okay. And it also gives you some vitamin A and some stuff like that. So it's good to be out in the sun. I love to get out in the sun. The older you get, the better it feels on your back. Your bones get to hurting and stuff like that. So we need to do that. That's going to help us. Just getting outside and walking around is going to help us because there's some exercise involved in that. Just moving, and we know we don't get enough exercise, so we need to get out so that we can do a little bit of exercise and also get some of that sun, and without getting too much of it, right? We don't want to get sunburned or anything like that, but we do want to get outside, move around, and get some of that activity going on in our lives. And then look, once it's all over with, one of the big things that I do, like I told you, I would eat, and then I'll go in and sit down and watch a good movie. But about halfway through that good movie, I'm probably going to go to sleep. Yeah. So that's a big thing. When it's all over with, when the meal's eaten and the stuff's put up and everything is done and the movie's watched and the football game's been lost, well, some teams, some sides got lost it, then you need to be having a good time of taking a nap. Maintain a healthy sleep schedule over the holidays. Stress and depression are worse when you are tired, right? When you are tired, everything is worse. What's one of the best things to keep you from getting overly tired?
Rest.
Rest. Get enough rest. How much rest do you need?
Get out.
You need, and it's different with different ages, but between 7 and 9 hours. And between 7 and 9 hours is 8 hours. So you sleep 7 hours, you're okay. 8 hours, you're okay. What if you're 15, 16? How much sleep do you need?
Need more.
Yeah, you need 12 to 15 hours. So, those kids are just, we just scream and yell at them, get your butt out of bed. And, they actually need more sleep because they're growing. They're doing all of those kinds of things. Your brain's growing, your body's growing, all of that stuff, so they need more sleep. So, real quickly, just protect yourself and recover. I'm going to read this real quick. These are positive strategies to protect your recovery. I'll be pleasant as possible. Choose to focus my attitude, mood, and behavior. I'm going to focus it on positivity. I'll adjust my expectations of other people's behavior, understanding even though I have changed, my family and friends have not. They're still who they were. I'll avoid becoming involved in petty and hurtful gossip, arguing, criticism, teasing, and belittling, and will keep my communication positive. And then lastly, I will resist the temptation to take on any old family roles that I no longer fit in. That's not who I am anymore. So, ladies, I'm going to come over there and get my stuff here in just a little bit. You're disrupting group, you know that.
I'm sorry. I got
So I'll be over there in just a little bit. Thank